All right, so imagine you find this package, right? And inside there's an album, but it's like nothing you've ever heard.
Oh, I love this. I love a good mystery package.
It's called Through the Looking Glass
Okay.
by a band called TATANKA.
TATANKA, okay.
And it's all about taking you on this journey deep inside, like your own mind. It's
Mm-hmm.
AI generated, it's psychedelic, and like packed with all these philosophical ideas, and you want to like understand it. Well, buckle up, because that's exactly what we're going to do today.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting here is that we're not just like unpacking musical themes, right? We're diving into the whole experience around this album.
Yeah.
We've got Ukrainian lyrics, we've got English translations, and we've even got this really unique account of how one listener experienced it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so before we fall down this rabbit hole, can you like set the stage for us? What's the overall vibe we're stepping into?
Okay, so think late 60s.
Right.
Like that era of Beatles experimentation.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, the creators, they wanted to evoke that same feeling of surrealism, reflection, and musical exploration.
I like it already.
It's psychedelic, but it's also meant to make you think differently about the world, the world around you.
I can already hear the sitar. You
Oh.
can hear those swirling mellotron sounds. Okay, so how does this sonic journey actually unfold?
It's like a gradual descent into deeper consciousness.
Okay.
You start with these really dreamy, whimsical sounds, almost like you're floating on a cloud.
Yeah.
But then as the album goes on, it gets more abstract, more philosophical, like you're peeling back layers of reality.
I love that. Like Alice in Wonderland. Like we're going down the rabbit hole. Okay, so let's walk through this Looking Glass track by track.
Okay.
What's the first scene we encounter?
So the album opens with this track called Floating Through the Velvet Sky, and it's all about beauty, the wonder of the cosmos. You'll hear a lot of imagery about stars, clouds, that feeling of weightlessness.
So I'm picturing myself lying on a hillside at night, looking up at the stars. It's like that universal feeling of wanting to be a part of something bigger.
That's a great observation. And musically, the way they do that is with these sustained synth pads and echoing vocals,
Oh, cool.
creating that sense of awe, vastness. So it's not just the lyrics. The music itself is kind of evoking that feeling of transcendence.
Oh, I love that when music does that. Okay, so where do we float to next?
So from the vastness of the cosmos, we're guided towards something a little more grounded. Whisper of the eastern wind brings in this idea of ancient wisdom, searching for truth.
Okay, interesting. So is this a change of pace musically too?
Definitely. The tempo slows down. You start to hear instruments like flute, acoustic guitar that kind of evoke tradition, contemplation. And again, it's not just about the instruments.
Yeah.
It's the wind itself becomes a metaphor for the soul's journey.
I can picture like a lone traveler walking across this vast desert, guided by the wind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this idea of a journey, of seeking, it's really central to the album's overall arc.
Okay, so we've gone from the starry sky to the whispering wind.
Yeah.
Where does this exploration of consciousness lead us next?
Now we're diving into Under the Eye of Consciousness.
Okay.
And this is where things get a little more intense.
Oh.
We're plunged into the depths of the subconscious,
Yeah.
exploring hidden truths, memories. It's all about that interplay of light and darkness.
This is where the journey gets a little unsettling, maybe even a bit scary.
Yeah, there's definitely a shift in mood, right? The music becomes darker, denser.
Okay.
They use these dissonant chords, these pulsating rhythms that create a sense of unease.
So are we talking like minor keys, maybe some distorted sounds, just to really unsettle the listener?
That's exactly what they do.
Oh, wow.
It's as if, like, the music itself is reflecting that disorientation of delving into the subconscious.
Oh, wow.
It's a really, brilliant use of these musical techniques to evoke that psychological state.
They're really taking us on a ride. Okay, so does this psychological intensity continue?
Actually, there's a surprising shift. There's a shift to lightness, playfulness. The Curious Case of Mr. Bumblebee offers this really whimsical perspective on, finding your place in the world.
Oh, okay.
It's a breath of fresh air after, the heaviness of the previous track.
So a complete tonal change. What's happening musically to create that?
The instrumentation becomes lighter, brighter.
Okay.
They use things like glockenspiel, ukulele, even a whistling melody.
Oh, wow.
It feels childlike, innocent, reminding us to approach life with curiosity, joy.
Mr. Bumblebee's shaking things up. This is a really deliberate choice by the creators, like a palate cleanser.
Exactly.
before we go back into some deep themes.
Yeah, and it showcases their mastery, right?
Yeah.
Like manipulating mood and emotion through these musical choices.
So where does this curious bumblebee lead us next?
So from these playful meadows, we're suddenly launched into the vastness of the cosmos again, with On the Other Side of the Silver Horizon.
Wow. Back to space. What's the focus this time?
So this track, it's all about the dissolution of time, the endless possibilities of the universe. The lyrics talk about boundaries blurring.
Hmm.
And the music reflects that with these swirling psychedelic textures.
So are we talking like a more expansive sound, maybe a faster tempo this time?
You got it. It's driving.
Yeah.
It's energetic. It really captures that feeling of limitlessness. So think like soaring synths, driving percussion, ethereal vocals, like we're on a spaceship hurtling through the galaxy at warp speed.
I'm getting some space rock vibes.
Yeah.
This is quite a journey.
Yeah.
We've gone from starry wonder to ancient wisdom to the dark subconscious to a playful bumblebee, and now we're blasting off into the cosmos. Where we land next?
Well, our spaceship seems to be landing right back inside our own minds. The broken smile of mirror it's a deep dive into the fragmented self. And this idea of like the challenge of finding truth in a world that often feels distorted.
Oh, back to introspection. This sounds like it could be a very powerful moment on the album.
It is. And musically, it becomes more introspective.
Yeah.
The focus is on these haunting melodies, these fragmented rhythms. It almost feels like the music itself is struggling to hold itself together.
Wow.
Mirroring that, that fractured sense of self that the lyrics are exploring.
It's so powerful, that idea of a broken mirror, right?
Yeah.
Reflecting a fragmented self. And, it reminds me of 𝗧𝗕𝗓.
Oh, yeah.
The listener whose experience with this album, like, it's detailed in the source material, remember?
Yeah.
How she talked about feeling this pressure to conform,
Yeah.
to, like, present the certain image to the world. And it's like, she's grappling with this idea, too, of a fragmented self, the masks we wear in society.
Absolutely.
And that leads perfectly into the next track.
Yeah.
The parade of shifting faces.
Oh, wow.
All about this struggle for authenticity in a world that demands conformity.
Absolutely. It's like a commentary on the masks we all wear, consciously, unconsciously. And musically, it's really interesting, too, because they use these shifting rhythms, these dissonant harmonies, and it creates this sense of unease, like instability.
And I bet that unsettling feeling really resonates with 𝗧𝗕𝗓.
Oh, absolutely.
Feeling that pressure to conform can be incredibly isolating.
Yeah.
It's like you're constantly questioning who you really are.
Exactly. And I think that feeling of isolation is something a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
Even if they haven't had the same experiences as 𝗧𝗕𝗓.
Okay, so we're facing some pretty heavy themes here, right? Identity, fragmentation, conformity. Does the album offer any kind of escape from this intensity?
Well, not exactly an escape, but Spinning Orange Stars, it takes us on a completely different journey. This is where the album gets really wild. Really abstract. Think sensory overload.
Oh, okay.
Swirling colors. The breakdown of reality itself.
So they're really trying to create a musical representation of a psychedelic experience?
That's a great way to put it. And they use all these distorted sounds, swirling effects, and unpredictable rhythms to create that sense of disorientation.
Yeah.
Sensory overload.
This is the part of the album that could either really hook you or totally turn you off, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for everyone.
Right.
But it's a brilliant example of how music can be used to evoke those altered states of consciousness.
So we've spun through a kaleidoscope of sounds and colors.
We have.
Where does this sonic roller coaster take us next?
Well, after all that chaos of spinning orange stars, we land in a place of contemplative stillness with Tomorrow Yesterday.
Okay.
This track explores the fluidity of time,
Okay.
the interconnectedness of past, present, and future.
So the album's playing with our perception of time as well as space.
Yes.
It's like they're trying to break down all the boundaries of normal reality.
Exactly. And the music reflects that, with these layered, looping melodies that seem to exist outside of linear time. It's like the past, present, and future are all happening at the same time. It's really thought-provoking.
It reminds me of how 𝗧𝗕𝗓 talked about feeling connected to the ancient lands of her ancestors while listening to this album. It's like the music is allowing her to tap into like a different dimension of time.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
And it really shows how music can be this bridge, right, between different states of consciousness, different ways of experiencing reality.
This is powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so after this deep dive into time, where do we go next?
Okay, hold on tight.
Okay.
Because we are shifting gears again
All right.
with Racing for the Infinite Dream. This is a track that's full of this relentless energy, ambition.
All right.
It's all about chasing your dreams, pushing boundaries, and striving for transcendence.
It sounds like the perfect soundtrack for anyone who's ever felt that like burning desire to achieve something great.
Exactly. And the music itself is a reflection of that drive, that ambition.
Yeah.
Soaring melodies, pounding drums, a sense of like unstoppable momentum.
So they're using music to amplify those feelings.
Yes.
Of ambition, determination, like a sonic pep talk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Do they offer a moment of peace?
They do.
In this whirlwind of emotions.
Barden Beyond the Gate. It's a refuge.
Okay.
A place of peace and renewal. The lyrics talk about finding sanctuary amidst all the chaos of the world.
Yeah.
And the music reflects that.
Okay.
Calming melodies, gentle instrumentation.
Ah, a much-needed respite.
It is. And it's interesting to think about this track in the context of Sapphira's story, right?
Yeah.
Remember how she talked about how the album helped her to create this sacred space for herself? A place where she could just reconnect with her own inner peace?
That's beautiful. It's like Garden Beyond the Gate is the musical embodiment of that sacred space.
Exactly. And it reminds us that even in the midst of like the most challenging journeys, there are always these places of peace, sanctuary to be found. We just have to be open to finding them.
Such an important message.
Yeah.
So after finding solace in the garden, where does our journey lead us next?
Well, brace yourself, because we're about to enter the city's golden reflections.
Uh-oh.
This is a stark critique of superficiality.
Okay.
And the search for meaning in this really materialistic world.
That's quite a shift from the tranquility of the garden. What kind of sonic landscape are we entering here?
The music takes on this darker, more industrial tone.
Okay.
You hear like these metallic sounds, distorted vocals, and it evokes this sense of coldness, emptiness, reflecting that emptiness that the lyrics describe.
This reminds me of how Sapphira talked about the pressure she felt to conform to these societal expectations, even if they didn't feel authentic to her. It's like she's navigating this world that often values appearances over substance.
That's such a great connection.
Yeah.
It shows how those themes, right, superficiality, authenticity, they're woven throughout the whole album, musically, lyrically.
Yeah.
They resonate on this personal level, but also this societal level as well.
Okay, we've been through a lot. Wonder, wisdom, darkness, playfulness, space exploration, self-doubt, social commentary. What else do they have in store for us?
Get ready for complete sensory immersion with red hues and purple sounds.
Oh, okay.
This track is all about blurring the lines between the senses. It's like this wild psychedelic experience that really defies description.
I'm intrigued. What's happening musically to create this sensory explosion?
Think like swirling synths, distorted guitars, layered vocals, and this driving hypnotic rhythm. It's a sonic feast that aims to like overload your senses and break down those boundaries between sound and color.
I can't wait to hear this one. After this wild ride, where do we end up?
We reach this peak of unity, connection with you and I, we are one. It's a really beautiful and profound celebration of the interconnectedness of all things, dissolving the boundaries between self and other.
So after all the chaos and introspection, we arrive at a sense of peace and unity.
Exactly, and the music reflects this. Soaring melodies, harmonious vocals, a feeling of expansive bliss. It's like all those different threads of the album are coming together in this moment of like transcendent unity.
I'm starting to see how the structure of the album itself is part of the message. It's like they're taking us on this very deliberate journey through these different states of consciousness, ultimately leading us to this realization of interconnectedness.
That is a brilliant observation, and it highlights the intentionality behind this album's creation. It's not just like they're throwing a bunch of random songs together.
Right.
They're crafting an experience.
Yeah. So where do we go from this peak of unity?
So as the album starts to wind down, we encounter echoes in the twilight rain.
Okay.
This is a really poignant reflection on the nature of time and memory. It's full of nostalgia. There's this bittersweet beauty and a sense of, the fleeting nature of all things.
This sounds like a beautiful and melancholic way to start coming down from the high of you and I, we are one. What's happening musically to create this feeling?
The tempo slows down.
Okay.
And the music takes on this wistful, ethereal quality. And they use a lot of reverb and delay effects, creating this sense of space, longing. It's as if the music itself is fading away, echoing into the past.
It makes me think about how 𝗧𝗧𝗧 talked about feeling connected to her ancestors while listening to this. It's like she's experiencing those echoes, you know, in a tangible way, bridging the gap between past and present.
It's such a powerful way to think about it.
Yeah.
And it shows how music can be this bridge, you know, between different realms of experience, different dimensions of time.
Okay, so we've explored the depths of consciousness. We've danced through chaos. We soared through the cosmos. We found peace in unexpected places. How does this incredible journey conclude?
The album ends with Dance of the Fool's Shadow. This is like a playful and subversive invitation to embrace the absurdity of existence.
Okay.
It's a reminder that sometimes the wisest path is to let go of control, to laugh at ourselves, and to find that joy in the unknown.
So after all those heavy themes and complex emotions, this sounds like a wonderfully liberating way to end the album.
It is. It's like a reminder to not take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
To find the humor and the joy in the unpredictable nature of life. And the music is like a perfect reflection of that.
Yeah.
Playful melodies, unexpected rhythms, and a sense of like mischievous glee.
It's like they're telling us to dance through life even when we don't know the steps.
Exactly. And to remember that sometimes the most profound truths are hidden in the most unexpected places.
This has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've explored such a wide range of emotions and ideas. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to the fact that this album was created by AI.
Pretty mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean, it really makes you question what creativity even is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
We tend to think of it as this like uniquely human thing.
Yeah.
But here's this AI crafting this incredibly layered philosophical work of art.
It really kind of blurs the lines, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it raises all these questions about the future of art, right? Like, will AI become the primary creator?
Right.
Will humans just be, you know, curating the algorithms? It's a conversation we need to be having.
And this album, Through the Looking Glass,
Yeah.
it's a perfect starting point for that conversation.
Absolutely.
It's not just music.
Yeah.
It's a philosophical prompt.
Yeah.
It's like an exploration of what it even means to be human. In this world where machines are becoming increasingly creative.
And it highlights the role of the listener, too, right? Because even with the AI creating the sounds, it's still up to us to interpret them, to find the meaning, to connect them to our own experiences. And speaking of connecting to experiences, I want to go back to 𝗧𝗧𝗧 one last time.
Okay.
Her approach to listening to this album was so intentional.
Yes.
So ritualistic.
Right.
It wasn't just background music for her.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
That's what's so powerful about her story.
Yeah.
She created a sacred space.
Yeah.
Using incense, candles, really setting the mood.
Right.
To fully immerse herself in the music.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we can all kind of choose to engage with art in a more mindful way.
Like, she understood that this album, with its psychedelic and philosophical themes, deserved a different kind of listening.
Yes.
It wasn't something to just passively consume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lesson there for all of us, right?
Yeah.
In a world that's full of distractions.
Right.
It's so easy to just have music playing in the background while we're doing other things.
Yeah, totally.
But when we take the time to actually listen, to create that space, it can become a much richer experience.
Yeah. Okay, so for our listener who's about to embark on their own journey through the looking glass, what advice would you give them?
Go.
How should they approach this album?
First and foremost, be open to the experience.
Okay.
This isn't an album you just put on for background noise.
Right.
It's an invitation to go on a journey,
Yeah.
to explore your own consciousness, to question your perceptions.
Dim the lights, put on your headphones.
Yes.
And let the music be your guide.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to feel all the feels.
Yeah.
This album takes you on a roller coaster of emotions, from wonder and awe to darkness and introspection.
Yeah.
It's all part of the journey.
And remember, there's no right or wrong way to interpret the music.
Absolutely.
Let your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences be your guide.
This album is like a mirror,
Yeah.
reflecting back your own unique perspective.
And if 𝗧𝗧𝗧's story inspired you, create your own ritual around listening.
I love that.
Light a candle, burn some incense, maybe choose a special food or drink to enhance the experience.
The most important thing is to be intentional.
Yeah.
To create a space where you can fully immerse yourself in the music and just let it take you wherever it wants to go.
I love that.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what's the one thing you want our listener to walk away with?
I want them to remember that Through the Looking Glass is more than just an album.
Yeah.
It's a journey, it's a challenge, it's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
And it's this really powerful reminder that even in this age of artificial intelligence,
Right.
that human capacity for meaning-making, for connecting with art,
Yeah.
it's still alive and thriving.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And remember that quote from Timothy Leary?
Oh, yes.
You are a powerful, unlimited, and eternal soul who is here to enjoy the experience of creativity and contribute to humanity's evolution.
I love that quote.
This album is an invitation to embrace that power,
Yeah,
that creativity, and to see yourself as part of something much bigger than yourself.
absolutely.
So go forth and listen, explore, and let Through the Looking Glass be your guide on a journey of self-discovery.
Beautiful.
Until next time, happy listening.